This is Nano Banana. Wait a second, I did this video before. Why would I do this again? Oh, wait, this isn't a heavily censored platform with limited quota.
Computer says no.
This is Comfy UI? Wait, am I running this locally? Oh, come on, there's no way that I can do what freaking Google Gemini does locally. Okay, apparently I can. But it must be slow as hell, right? Like 10-minute creations or something? Nobody's gonna wait this long for an image. Wait, for real? 1 or 2 minutes per image? Depending on the size? Huh. You know, maybe I should do another video. Welcome back, everyone. This is Loot Garlic, and today we are going to take a look into Qwen Image Edit, a context model from Alibaba. Huh. Well, leave it to the Chinese to completely destroy our competition. Okay, I will make it short. If you saw my Nano Banana video, Qwen Image Edit is exactly that. But it runs on consumer hardware, locally, and without any censorship to boot. But just a heads up before we continue, with consumer hardware, I mean like my setup with a 3060 with 12 GB of VRAM and at least 32 GB of system RAM. And the actual important thing here is the system RAM, not necessarily the GPU. Unless, of course, you have an insanely good graphics card with 24 GB of VRAM or more, because then you will be able to load the model entirely in your video memory, so you don't need the system RAM as a fallback. Okay, so let's quickly go through the steps to set it up. First, we need to install Comfy UI. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Comfy UI looks intimidating, and the node-based approach is confusing, and yada yada. That's what I was thinking over the last year, and I never really bothered with it, but trust me, it's super easy these days. So we just go to comfy.org/download, and there you go. We download the exe and run it, and it will automatically download and install all dependencies and give you instructions on what you're missing. In my case, the only thing that was missing was a local GitHub install. After installing and updating Comfy UI, you are greeted with an empty workflow. So we go to Templates, we write Qwen in the search bar and select Qwen Image Edit 2509 and enable the template. Comfy will then automatically download all the required models for you. Awesome! So we load up an image, we add our prompt, and we hit run. And that's it. The first generation will take a bit longer than all the following ones. Just have a little patience. The green border around the node windows will show you what is currently being processed. And the K-sampler will eventually show a progress bar, and after that finishes, it takes a couple more seconds for your image to show up. If you want to optimize it a little bit more, you can replace the Lightning 4-step LoRA here with an 8-step LoRA and adjust the number of steps to 8 for a little bit extra quality. If you're still not satisfied, you can also bypass the Lightning LoRA entirely and just run the model raw. But in this case, you definitely want to put in at least 20 steps, and the image will take a lot longer to process. Personally, I think the difference in quality is often not worth it, but feel free to experiment with it. Another thing to note is that there are currently compressed versions of this model as well, and these are called GGUFs, whatever. To run those instead of the base model, you need to download them into the UNet folder in your comfy/models directory. Back in Comfy UI, click on Manager, Custom Nodes Manager, and search for Comfy UI -GGUF by City96. Oh, this is a tongue twister. And then hit install, and we start Comfy. And then double-click on some empty space in your grid and search for UNet Loader GGUF Then hit R to refresh the available models and select the compressed model you want. And then, in the last step, just connect the output of the loader directly with the LoRA loader. If you select a compressed model small enough that it can fit in your video memory, then you can prevent offloading into system RAM, which might be an option for lower spec machines. But to tell the truth, the quality loss of using those compressed models is quite big. Okay, let's talk the elephant in the room, which is using additional LoRa's. Because, as I told you before, this model is not censored. And unlike Nano Banana, it will not prevent you from generating slightly suggestive content. So this sounds great on paper, but it does lack training data when it comes to not safe for work content. So the model will definitely generate nudity, but it will output something akin to like a Barbie doll with invisible gene Italians. However, we can fix this by adding a not safe for work LoRa, and I have already found 2 of them on CivetEye, and they both work reasonably well, but there might be more, and there will definitely be more in the future. So let's add the LoRa to this workflow. LoRa save tensor files go into the models/LoRa's directory, obviously, and then we double-click the grid and select LoRa loader model only. And then you should see the LoRa you downloaded. If not, then hit R on your keyboard. Connect the output of the Qwen model with the LoRa loader and then connect that with the Lightning LoRa. And if we now prompt to get this character without any clothes, then the model will do it properly. Awesome. By the way, if the input image is already naked, then the LoRa might not even be needed. So yeah, that's it for the technicals. If you want examples of what you can do with this model, then feel free to watch my previous video about Nano Banana, because this model works and does exactly the same, and I don't want to repeat myself. By the way, there are 2 bypassed extra image nodes here that can be used to combine 2 images into one. So, for example, we draw a second character in here and we make them hug each other, and the model will do that just fine. The quality of this model is, in my opinion, slightly below that of Nano Banana, but this is just because I couldn't use the full 40GB model on my hardware and had to use the FP8 precision model at half the size. From what I read and saw online, using the full model actually delivers a higher quality output than Nano Banana. So if you have a machine powered by Satan himself, then you might definitely want to check out the full model instead. Alright, garlic out and see you next time. Toodles!